gonna win.
Let's go.
Do the job.
We good.
We gonna get.
I like my wings with lemon pepper on.
A frustrating day to say the least in the ATL for the Commanders. Road games too slow out the blocks again.
You know, we show what we can do when we do our best, and then, you know, when we're not doing our best, like today, you know, that kind of shows us a little bit. But we just got to get back to the drawing board and, you know, to get back to us. You know, we know we can do that. We're capable of doing it. And we got another away game, and we just got to start fast.
Third downs, 1 of 8, not good. Then there's major concern from a secondary that struggles with explosive plays. Tackling, execution, growth, and making plays all have to be better. A puzzling performance and much to work out as the Commanders head west to take on the Chargers. A lot to unpack in this one on this week's Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus.
The man
Call
is
somebody,
back,
call
y'all.
somebody.
We're
He's
back.
Call
He's
your
back.
mama, call your daddy.
We're back and we're back.
We're
back. Tony McGee,
He's back, y'all.
We're back. Tony McGee.
Come on.
Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50-some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Crystal City Sports Pub, located in the heart of National Landing, is ranked one of the top 20 sports bars in the country. We are open 365 days a year. Crystal City Sports Pub, with its laid-back atmosphere, is the place to be. We offer 3 levels, over 100 TVs, an 18-foot video wall, pool tables, 3 full bars featuring 11 beers on tap, an extensive menu, and super friendly staff. We offer on- and off-site catering and ample space to host private parties and gatherings. Come experience Crystal City Sports Pub. It is the place to be.
Now, I don't want to be one of the guys that say, I told you so. But I want everybody to get the film from last week's show. One of the last things I said is this team, speaking of this team down here, because I am down here in Georgia with them. And I said, this team is okay, but they're ready to explode and they can hurt you. And that's what they did. I told you also, don't get real giddy about what Washington's doing. It's a long season. So we got a lot to talk about today. But one thing about it, when we do talk today, that's only us observing. We're not saying this is the way the season is going to be, but we will point out a few things that we saw. So I got Donald on the show. I got the big fella. I got the Michael, and the iceberg is coming in soon. But what I want to talk about is, let's do it right quick. You take a look at this, and it's going to be changes in the NFL this year. And you can see that with every team. A team may lose 30-0, then come back and put 30 on the board. I just look at our team and say, one thing that I did not see on Sunday was consistency as units. In other words, offensive linemen weren't doing everything that they should be able to do. Quarterback played as well as he could. Defensive line don't even know what number the quarterback had on. Defensive backs were on the field. They were still in the locker room. And then you start looking at the special team. We didn't mention because they weren't there. But I'll let these guys talk about it. Down, am I wrong with that? Or did I see that the right way?
Tony, you had 2 more eyeglasses. You had your eyeglasses on because you saw it right, Tony, all the way from the beginning to the end, because the offense scored 27 points, enough to win that game. And although they started slow, something that Coach Quinn preaches about game in and game out is they can't afford to start slow. And they are on the road starting slow, and then they got to go on the road again to play the Chargers. So again, it's these quick starts, but it's the mistakes, Tony, the missed tackling, the execution, the communication, and all those things, Tony, that add up. But let's go quickly to the locker room, Tony, because they no need to waiting, because let me tell you, it was murder in that locker room as I was trying to get players to talk to. Couldn't find offensive players, and they did pretty much their job, 27 points, but it was the defense I was searching out, Tony, because they got to clean up some mistakes.
You know, we just got to get in rhythm. You know, we're going to go back this week and practice hard and starting fast for next week, you know. So that's just where we are right now. He's a great leader. He's been in this league for a long time. He led us very well, gave us opportunity to win.
Should come out, play better, play faster, play stronger, play more physical, and should execute the scheme better. Yeah, we definitely could have tackled better today. Could have ran the scheme better, could have did everything better.
I mean, it's still early. It's a lot more football to play, a lot more room to get better, so I'm going to just leave it at that.
Hey, Dorrington, one thing about it is it's things that you all know that you all can clean up. Is that true?
For sure. It's always things to clean up. Nobody's perfect. We just try to be as perfect as we can.
Got to credit those guys. They did a lot of good things. We have to be better at certain situations that doesn't give them those third and shorts, third and fours, third and threes, right? A lot of that involves tackling. So, yeah, like, we missed the mark on that. All of us got to understand, like, no matter who's out there, right, like, the things that we've struggled with, like, those are the things that we're going to continue to see until we learn from them. And so we just got to harp on those things, right? Harp on the small things, the eye control, the gap discipline, the how we're communicating on the back end, all of those things. They all add up.
I think, you know, we just got to execute the calls that's out there, you know what I'm saying? Whatever coach calls, we just got to execute it. I think we just got to be better with our keys and just make sure we're always focused and we're out there communicating at a high level. That's when we're at our best, is when we're all back there talking. Other than that, I think it's very easy to beat a defense that, you know, isn't out there focused and communicating the right way and everybody on their keys and whatnot.
They're a good team. They got good players. We just got to make the plays that come to us.
And Tony, one other thing is for the offense, they were 1 of 8 on third downs. You're not going to be able to win games like that. And as Payne and some of those guys said, it's a lot of things that they did not do right. And I can't understand when they said, I think it was Mikey said about focus, but the communication breakdown is killing this team right now on the defensive side.
Well, you know, and not only that, it's the whole team playing together. And schematically, that means that their system isn't put together for the team to play together. We have one facet play well one week, one play the next. What we got to do is all facets have to play well. When we said that in the beginning of the show, we didn't leave anything out because all facets hurt. The quarterback played the best he could. He was here before, so they knew a lot about him. But the offensive lineman, you got to remember the hogs. You got to go out there and keep people down. Defensive lineman, you got to remember when the defensive line was always on the quarterback. As I said, they didn't get even close a few times on Sunday. So what you take a look at this is we got all giddy and everything, but Solomon, what did you see offensively? Every time they say you can score 27 or anything over 17, you should win. But what do you think the reason that they did not play any better than they did?
First of all, I respect the offense for them not having JD5 and having McLaurin. They held their own. You know, I was proud with what Debo Samuels did, and I was proud with actually what the Flying Hawaiian Mariota did. But where's the defense at? Like, what happened? Like, no, I got to look around. Like, I got to have my flashlight. What happened to the defense? Like, all they had to do, I didn't see nothing from the defensive line. Bobby Wagner, loving to death, but they really exposed him yesterday. And like Dad said, I don't even think the cornerbacks were in the locker room. I think they were enjoying the entertainment that goes on in Atlanta nightlife still. Like,
they was up in a suite there.
Yeah, because I just don't know what was going on. But I'm not too bad on the offense, Pops. And I'm going to give a shout out. Conley Jr., better this week. Didn't take too many mistakes. Protected Mariota pretty good. So I'm not going to hate on the offense too much, Pops. But like I said, has anybody seen the defense? I'm still looking for them.
Hey, Solomon, shine that again. There you go.
I tell you what,
You find them.
People weren't looking for them, and they were looking for the quarterback. But at the same time, Mike, as you take a look at this schematically, do you think maybe they should change some things where they got two people rushing together? We used to do a lot of that when I played. What should this defensive line do? Because I did not see any consistent pressure whatsoever on Sunday. And you never want to go through an NFL game and that occurs.
Yeah, before I touch on the defense, Sarah, can you bring me my flashlight? Because Solomon just one-upped me. I was going to use mine, but okay, bring it on in, okay? In any case, Tony, everybody's going to be beating up on him, and all the social media is horrible this week. I want to stick up for this team. I want to say I agree with Solomon. Deebo Samuel, 6 catches, 72 yards. But the guy that surprised me was Luke McCaffrey. Not only did he catch that touchdown, he had 6 kickoff returns, and I know we'll talk about special teams later, for 199 yards. The special teams is doing an amazing job right now. Now, we simply forget that Bill in this game ran for 47 yards, 6.7 average. Chris Rodriguez had 59 yards, 8.4 average. Did you know that the Washington Commanders are number 2 in the NFL in rushing? And we're getting ready, they are getting ready to play the Chargers, who are 21st in rushing in the NFL. So everybody's talking about this game as a real bust. I think maybe they gave up just because they were behind. Maybe they gave up on the rushing game, but I want to get on the defense. I think that Adam Peters made 2 big mistakes in the offseason. We all love safety Jeremy Chin, a big hitter, a big kid, sort of an enforcer. And when I saw Dante Fowler play in the Dallas game, he was inspired. I think he sort of feels like somehow he has to step up and be the next Micah Parsons. But he had a phenomenal game. So letting defensive and Dante Fowler go, who had 10 sacks last year, and letting Jeremy Chin go, I'm just saying, Tony, take over, but I think that's made a difference. And Johnny Newton, I don't know where he went.
Hey, Mike, they didn't let Jeremy Chin go. Jeremy Chin wanted to go because he was going to get more money. But one big loss for the Commanders going into this week, and injuries, Tony, seem to be piling up for this team week in and week out. They lose another defensive player in Javon Jean-Baptiste, pec injury, almost like Jonathan Allen's, what he had last season. And another big loss for this Commanders defense that, I think defensive front wise, they lose Wise, they lose Will Harris, and some of those key guys that's in there, Tony, that, next guy up, Percy Butler was out last week. So they got to get some bodies back, but it's some key people that will not be back on this team. So what do you do from there as far as cleaning up? But I thought, Tony, that they got away from the running game just a little bit. It was 147 yards total, but I'm not understanding why they stopped running Chris Rodriguez, because he bust some in the beginning. And I thought that Bill Merritt basically did some great things too. But to me, they got away from the running game a little bit. But I like Solomon and Mike said, I'm not going to harp on the offense too much. 27 points, as Gary always says, should win you games. But it's the defense in the secondary, Tony, that is a mess. And as far as confusion, communication, week in and week out.
I have to go along with that, but at the same time, you start thinking about, you guys are talking about the combination of what they did totally. If you take Rodriguez out there, he had 1 run out of that 59, and he had 50-something yards on that. So he wasn't just blowing them out, but they should have given him more of an opportunity. This is what we said, that you need that bell caller. You need that one player that when you put him in there, he's going to ring the bell. That's what they do not have, and that was apparent on Sunday. So when we take a look at this, the running game was all right. We got good averages, but when did those averages happen? Did they happen over a game, or did they happen in 2 or 3 plays? They happened in 2 or 3 plays. Not good enough. As far as the pass rush and the defense, they both got to coordinate it. Now, sometimes it's the pass rush fault, sometimes it's the defensive back. But whatever it is, you got to coordinate that a little better. Now, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because this happened and we start talking, oh, they in trouble. You got to look around the league. It's a lot of teams in trouble. It's going to be a lot of changes this year. And I tell you what, you look at it, it's not going to be the big dogs on top anymore. And Solomon, you know, you've been watching this a long time. What teams now, these younger teams, do you see? And we only got about a minute. What ones do you see that's coming up to be prevalent in this race?
I mean, Dad, it's wide open. And I mean, even with it being a tie last night, Green Bay's still coming. But like, it's just, and I feel like it's a turn. And just think, Green Bay was bad for a while, but I think they're back. And like I told people, surprise teams like the Jaguars, they're getting better. So I think it's just like the NBA. It's getting back wide open where all these draft picks are paying off, Pop.
Well, I tell you what, when we come back, we'll take a look at this. One thing we have to do, and I'll keep reiterating this, we're not putting them down. We're not saying it's a lost year. All we're doing is saying what we see. And I see things on the defensive line that I love to see them correct. But at the same time, we're only 4 games in, 2-2. Got a great opportunity. But when a team that's 1-3 has scored more points than anybody else in the league, you got more to worry about than just your defense and your team. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, welcome home. It's Michelle Van Allen from Van Allen Real Estate. I am over 20 years experienced in this real estate game. We all know that right now this market takes an experienced agent to get you what you need. All of you sellers, if you're considering putting your house on the market, please give me a call. I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk to you to find out where you place in this market. Hey, you first-time home buyers, remember, right now is the perfect time. It's a buyer's market to get you into your first dream home. Hey, you investors, this is an amazing time to invest. If you ever thought about it, give me a call. We can talk about it. We can talk about specific properties that are on your radar and mine. Give me a call. I'd be more than happy to welcome you into the Van Allen Real Estate team. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Well, you know what? When we look at receivers, we're talking about how these receivers aren't performing the way they are. So, you know, I've been talking to a few of my boys and said, look, man, it's a chance for us. I'm trying to get my pass rush back together. So when we start talking receivers, I go to one that I know, Double-A Anthony Armstrong. Welcome to the show. Man, go out there and make some money, man. All you got to do is catch the ball consistently. You can still do that, can you?
I still can catch the ball a little bit, man, but I too have a little quad injury. So me and Terry are in the same boat right now. So it wouldn't do any good to try to come up there, but I could talk about the position a little bit.
Tell me about that quad injury. I've had one. I was a lineman, and I remember it was my first year when I was playing in Chicago, and a guy hit me with his helmet right on that quad. I didn't think it was serious, but you get that blood build up in there, that quad gets thick. You can't treat it. You can't work out on it. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at like what Terry is going through, I'm not a doctor, obviously, but whenever you had that quad pull, it does connect to that hip flexor, and it has to deal with your stride and him trying to extend or being able to pull that knee up. And frankly, if you're not at full speed, then you don't really want him out there. And it can be a lingering thing, so it's best for him to get some rest right now. And this is a perfect opportunity for those other guys to get some play. Right, a lot of guys, you got to dig deep into the roster to try to figure out who's 13. I'm like, who's 13? I didn't know. I had to go and check. They said Tay Martin on the catch.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. Let me add him to my list. I saw he just got activated from practice squad. So when the big dog is out, now it gives the other folks a little chance to go out there and get some run. And they need to step up right now. We really need them.
Hey, Anthony, Tony, they did not step up really because Deebo Samuels is playing, solid from the first game to the last one. Punt, kickoff returns, as far as receivers, running back, and all of those things. And teams know how to kind of like utilize them not having other guys who can catch the rock. Although Luke McCaffrey the last couple of games has stepped up, but they need so much more, Anthony, in that passing game because teams are going to key in on one particular player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Debo's done a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm giving him a round of applause because everybody thought he was showing up fat and hungry, and he's done nothing but eat on the field. He's done nothing but make plays, and he's been a great leader as well. And that's the thing, another part I don't think a lot of people expected, but he's been great for that receiver room. He's been great for that team with the way he fights and the effort that he brings all throughout the game. You can learn a lot from that as a young player. You can just see, even when you're down by 2 scores against Green Bay, he's trying to take a short hitch and try to break through and get into the end zone. So that's what Debo brings. Now, everybody else, they have to garner the respect of the rest of the folks in the league. At this point, if they're going to focus on one side, they're going to bring up man coverage, and you're going to have to find a way to create some separation. But just like I was saying to Scott Jackson, right now it's a point of my Jimmys versus the Joes. You don't got your top dog. So you have to find a way as a coaching staff to get some people open. And then as a quarterback, or if it's Jaden or if it's Marcus, they got to trust these other guys and give them an opportunity to make some plays. I think there's chances out there, but you can't be so quick to go to Ertz or swing it to a back. You have to give other guys a chance to get open and run some routes because there are chances out there, even with Terry not on the field, but you're going to have to give these guys chances to make some plays for you.
You got to prove you want those chances, do you not?
Absolutely.
What I'm talking about is we're not talking about just the big plays. We're talking about plays, period. You get paid every play that you're out there, no matter if you're on the bench. So whatever you need to do. That's what I'm not seeing with the receivers. I'm seeing them do some good things in the defensive line. You're supposed to be paid for every play. And what I'm saying, they need to make the little catches too. They need to let them know that you can depend on me. You don't need to drop a ball that's right in your hand because you're looking to run. You need to make a play happen. And that's what they didn't have on Sunday. Offensively with the receiver, defensively with the defensive line.
And Tony, they can't go 1 for 8 on third downs because if you can't move the ball and get those third downs, I think they were better on fourth downs, but it's disappointing at 1 and 8 on third downs. That's not going to move anything. And then Anthony, they got slow starts too because teams are gearing in on them. And like you said, Tony, defensively, if they don't get that secondary secure where they're not giving away explosive plays game after game, that to me is a total mess right now. It's a lot of confusion in the secondary.
I've seen more times in the last year or two where receivers are not even in the area of the defensive backs and they're catching the ball on us. You don't even see a defensive back there. That's high school. That ain't even college. You got to do your job. If you have one time on that field when they're trying to throw a pass and you see me running upfield with my hands behind my back or something, then I need to be fired. I ain't saying they need to be fired, but it's time to step up. You know what? You're getting paid like a pro. You play like a pro.
You meant that, Tony. Fired.
Tony said we want him out of there. I did have it as a key to the game to play a lot tighter in coverage because it's on tape all year that receivers have been open. Even if we look back at the game against the Raiders, you kind of get to hide behind the fact that the pressure got to Geno and that kind of determined how the game was going to go. But he still threw for 300 yards. He still gave up 100 yards and 3 touchdowns and 1 receiver. Those aren't good statistics. So in the back end, you do have to play a lot closer. You do have to look at the tape and realize there's some spots where, Tony, they're dropping into some zones, but they're not deep enough. There's nobody around you. It's like you're just covering a part of the field because it's said to do so. But now I need you to think, hey, man, everybody's over there. Maybe I should go over there as well, right? There is a corner route that's dropping behind me. We've seen it on tape. The ones they hit on cover 2. That safety is in a tough position. The cornerback has to drift underneath to give him some help. I'm not afraid of the tight end in the flat. I'm afraid of the guy that's running behind you is going to catch a 20-yard pass. We need to think more about the system, situation, rather than thinking about just executing the system. Because right now, those two things are not aligning.
And, I'm going to just digress on my statement. I know Donna Hopkins is sitting on there. She waiting to jump on me because I haven't said. They still scored 27 points. They could have won that game. The defense didn't do their part of it either.
And how many, Tony, did they give up?
I don't know. I can't recall that. I don't look at things.
34. And
It
you know,
didn't feel it. It didn't feel it. It felt like it was it felt like it was a bigger game, like it was a
yes.
wider gap. You know what I mean? And I think it was because the defense didn't have any pushback. Offense would kind of get something going, and then they would duff the next shot and have a penalty and put themselves back in a a tough position. The play call and cadence, wasn't a big fan of it. The one situation where they went to the flat and they lost 2 yards and they tried to run it, and the next thing you know, it's 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8 is not a good place to be. You already mentioned it, Donna. 1 for 8 on 3rd down. You don't win a lot of football games being 1 for 8 on 3rd down.
But you got to get that bell call too. What you just said is, Donna, what did we say last week? They got to have that one receiver or two, that one running back there. When you give him the ball, you're looking for 3 or more yards. They don't have that right now, or they're not using it. And then you're looking for an offensive line that can at least make it where your quarterback is standing there for 2 seconds. I mean, they running this guy. I can't get mad at the offense this week.
You can't, Tony. You should be mad at the defense because the defense tackling was atrocious. Because even the players in the locker room after the game was over saying that, look, I'm taking ownership because we did not tackle. Bijan Robinson, you can't be shoestring tackling him or letting him slip slide out of your fingers because
that boy is good, though. Now, you know what? Sometimes you got to give the other player that play, too, now.
Oh, I'm giving him his play because Coach Witt last week said that Bijan Robinson is everything. He does everything great. Well, if you know that, that means that you got to do everything great against him.
I tell you what, and we also never mentioned special teams this week. If you defer back to last week, we were saying that we finally had a complete game, but we had the opposite this week. And the one thing about it, we're not blaming individuals. It's just if you stand up and act like you do not see it, you'll be doing the same thing later on. If you're a defensive lineman, you got to see how to get out there. First of all, you got to make sure you keep the quarterback on your inside shoulder. You don't never let them get outside. We have a propensity to let the quarterbacks get outside. Wide receivers, you don't just make the big play. You make the play that makes you win. Okay? An offensive lineman, get a holding call rather than let your quarterback get beat down. And I'm just calling it like it. And some of those defensive linemen didn't even know what number the other quarterback had on. So you know what? You got to pull your game together. And you know what's so intriguing right now? Nobody knows which team in this league is gonna. The young boys are coming up now. I'm telling you. If you saw those games on Sunday, the young boys are coming up, and all our old teams look at it, they're struggling, hurt, can't go back. See, that's why they asked us why we're doing this right now, Anthony. That's why we're doing it.
Hey,
Anthony,
look at Anthony. Baltimore can't get out of their own way, and now they have like 5 injuries. Lamar Jackson too. Kansas City just took it to them, and then you got Dallas. They can't play no defense, but they took it to Green Bay because they can score. Tony was talking about that. Tony and I was talking about Dallas may not have no defense, but they literally can score points. But it's scary that the Commanders right now, to me, is a little shaky all the way around. Do you like speaking? You can talk on the Baltimore, you can talk on as far as the Dallas, but Washington also, when you look at their play calling, I mean, they didn't utilize, to me, the running game as much as they should against Atlanta with Rodriguez and Bill Merritt, Krosky Bill Merritt. Basically, and look, I gave him all his names, so that's the reason why I called him out, because Bill, he wanted to be called Bill. Yeah. He didn't get utilized because the way he ran when he did get the ball was pretty phenomenal. But it's scary out here, Tony, because nobody in the NFL, it's like from week to week, you like, I don't know who's tops.
I mean, you look at it. I know it. And tell you what, man, the empty wagon rattled around us because we all thought Baltimore was going to be doing something. But them chumps don't even know how to get the uniforms on, right?
Man,
but I'm telling you,
I'm surprised with Baltimore right now.
Yeah, so we just look at our team. We are fixable. But a lot of our things that you can see, and Anthony, you know that too because you played a while. This is a young team trying to pull itself together. Got older players on it, but you're a young team as a group. And that you have to make that work. And if you see what happened when all 3 facets work, you get a good game. But then When one work don't work, one do not. I'm gonna tell you what, straight out. I'm gonna talk to Darryl Green every day because I know there's not a defensive back out there that can cover like him. And they need to follow him, do whatever they can because they need to learn how to cover, but they need a pass rush first. I'm not putting them down, but Anthony, give you down a salary if you go back.
Anthony, you got the last word because we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, we can talk off air on some negotiations. But number one, I'm surprised y'all stayed up late to watch the Cowboys game because it was on late. And you're right, they do have a crazy offense. I think they lead the league in offense, and then I think they're last in the league in defense. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm glad we don't have to see them for another couple of weeks because you can tighten some things up in the back end. Baltimore, yeah, man, I don't know what's going on over there. They usually do that in the postseason, and now it's happening a little bit earlier. So let's see if Harbaugh can get some things cleaned up. And finally, play calling wise, yeah, you got to run the rock. I think that you got to understand that this is the identity of this team. It's going to be the commonplace. It's the foundational aspect of this team. You can still get the big plays off of it, but the thing I want to see out of this offense as it grows, lead with the run, but you got to take a couple shots down deep, right? You got to think about throwing a couple of haymakers just to show them that you will. Tone probably knows about throwing a couple haymakers and uppercuts back in the day because you got to set the tone. You know what I mean? You got to set the tone and let them know. That's how it's going to be. I think there's enough speed out there on the edge that you can throw the ball to a Jalen Lane or a McCaffrey and open up this offense, get some of those safeties out of the box, and then that really can score some points because there's a long season ahead of us, and I know a lot of the fan base is ready to mail it in, but I ain't got no postage yet. I ain't mailing nothing in. I ain't mailing nothing in, dadgummit. We got time, but we ready to go.
Hey, Anthony, you got to come back with us again, right?
Absolutely. Y'all tap in with me. I'll come back on here.
But see, y'all you know what? You got the young boys, you need to listen to this guy right here. We watched him when he grew. We watched him when he was trying to win position to get in the rotation. We watched him once he got in there, he had something to say. And he has something to say now. And what I'm saying is keep working out, man. It's a long season.
Yeah, I'm gonna go run right now, Tone. Let me go get some cardio in.
Thanks for being on the show. And I tell you what, we want you to come back and we'll be able to talk again, but maybe we'll be talking about the growth of the receivers and not the failure. Thanks, Anthony.
Appreciate you.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50-some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Looking for top-notch sports officials who know the game inside and out? The Greater Potomac Officials Association, GPOA, proudly serves the military community throughout our region, with nearly 90% of our officials being military retirees, active duty service members, or guardsmen. We bring unmatched discipline, professionalism, and integrity to every contest. From youth leads to adult alumni, our officials cover it all. Want to learn more about GPOA or bring our officials to your program? Contact owner and CEO Earl Teller III at 202-498-2032 or email him at gr8rpotomac@comcast.net.
One thing here I've always said, and we'll do that and say it once again, is 3 facets to a football team: offense, defense, special teams. Now, last week we had an opportunity to see special teams that really played well, made plays going and coming. But this week we didn't even see a special team. I wondered if they played with them. But at the same time, this whole team is sort of like that. So what we need from the special teams, Mike, is something that occurred like last week. We
Well,
need
you
them
know,
to play.
one of the things that the coach was talked about is why do you have Deebo Samuel on your kickoffs? Because he's an invaluable participant in the overall receiving game. And the coach said because he can make things happen. And obviously, in the last couple of weeks, he's made things happen. But I guess since Terry McLaurin was out, they decided to maybe rest him a little bit. And he, as you could see, he's much more important in the receiving game. But Luke McCaffrey, I have to say, there's just something about the water he's drinking. Yeah, the cut in the end zone for the touchdown catch. He just ran a perfect route and the ball was there. He's really got good hands. I mean, amazing hands. But 6 kick returns for 199 yards. I had to go back about 4 or 5 years before I saw that. I mean, these special teams units, and I know some of us were beating up on the place kicker, Matt Gay. But 4 for 4, I mean, we just had to give the guy a chance to settle in. And he had a 52-yarder. That was the big knock on him, is maybe he's not all that adequate when it comes to things over 50, 55. But he nailed that one. It looked like it would have been good for 57, 58. Tressway is still the best punter in the NFL. And quite honestly, I think they get A+. But Donna, what do you think?
Well,
A+, Michael, what game?
I know, Tony.
Let me go to his class. Pops, why didn't you let me go to his class? I would have been an all-A student growing up. He gave an A.
Let me just say this, Mike. I am not giving them an A+ because Jalen Lane bubbled 2 punt returns that could have been a nightmare, and then because so they don't get no A+. But as far as getting the field goals, did a tremendous job this week. But Deebo Samuels is your kickoff guy.
I'll give him a B. I'll give him a B.
Yeah, a B, Solomon.
I'll give him a good B.
Mike ain't to take that red pen out, but come on, Mike, not no A+. You know how you got to get an A+ in this house. It ain't gonna be that easy. But one person, one group that's getting an A+, Tony, is our sports football challenge people.
Oh man, I've been getting calls on this, Donna. How are they doing?
Tony, it's heating up because if you look at the scores across, as far as Crystal City Pub at 2-3, the Glory Days 3-2, but look at our newcomer in there, GPOA 4-1, and then you've got Crystal City Restaurant at 2-3, and then Van Allen Real Estate at 3-2. But let's talk about Tony as far as starting with Crystal City Pub. Hey guys, you got to get out there, a friendly family restaurant in your neighborhood with great foods, great atmospheres, great fun, Tony. And Tony, this week, they're taking the Packers, just like Solomon said. Everybody's got their eyes open for the Packers. Monday night, they're taking the Dolphins and the Broncos. How do you see their picks, Tony, as far as the Dolphins? They're kind of shaky, Broncos, but the Packers, Tony, what's your take on them?
Packers are trying to find themselves, and they have the opportunity to do that. Every game is tight with them, but they are one of the best young teams. But until they find everything that they need, they're going to just be in the middle of the road. If you take a look around, it's just this Sports by Challenge is hard to pick because it seems as though teams are changing each and every week. It seems as though somebody's showing either a strength or a weakness. So if you take a look at this Sports by Challenge, you got to think about what happened if they get injured, what happened is this. But I like this Sports by Challenge because it's giving the fans an opportunity to really show on television what they know about it. Give the restaurant, because I know you restaurant people and different people are talking to them. So you need to do that, keep them going, and never too late to get involved with this. We'll even work with percentages because we want this to grow each and every year. But speaking of that, Donna, I got one question. Are their scores better than ours?
I don't know, Tony, because I've been trying to give them some help since I'm kind of like good with the picks. But the Glory Days, I told them when they were trying to take some of these teams, I was like, are you really thinking about that? But then they said, yeah, but I was like, okay. So the Glory Days at 3-2, Solomon, This is a great multiple locations. You can find them everywhere if you want great food, great sports atmosphere. The Glory Days Places is your place to go for the best sports ticket in town. Solomon, they're taking the Dolphins. What's your take on that?
I don't know what Dolphins we're going to get. I mean, and they're going against the Jets. I don't know, Glory Days. It may be a reason why y'all are 3-2 right now, just because I'm just not feeling too good about the Dolphins. So, but to each his own. And I'm not going to take away from your food. Your wings are still the bomb with them fries.
No question.
Come on in and get their food because they got multiple locations in GPOA, officiating crew. The best in town, the best in the DMV. They basically do youth officiating as far as adults, intramurals. If you're looking for great officials, GPOA is your people to go to. They are great with the military, really got a lot of things that they do with the military officiating. They've got great tournaments that's coming up. Football, basketball, softball, baseball, they got it all. And hey, they must have it all because right now they're setting at 4-1, Mike. And they this week on Monday night are picking the Bengals with all the problems against
the Bengals.
The Bengals, Tony, against the Broncos. Mike, do they have that right?
Well, I think their backup quarterback is one of the better ones in the league. But, the Jets are coming on, and Justin Fields is back. I can't go against Justin Fields. I would have to go with the Jets.
What? Michael, I can't believe. Now you guys, let's be reasonable with this.
Yeah, I like Justin Fields. I think he got a bad rap.
Well, let me just say this. Crystal City Restaurant, although they're down in their picks right now, but it's early in the season. So just hold up. Don't jump off the wagon because it's early. We just 4 games.
Billy gonna come back. I ain't even worried about Billy.
No, and let me tell you, Billy has a great place down there. So much to unpack with Billy, and Crystal City Restaurant is open since 1963, and the quality of service is A. Now that's where you need to give them an A+, Tony. You need to get Billy down at Crystal City Restaurant an A+. They deserve an A+.
They got it. But I just
and so you see they picking the Packers, Dolphins, and the Broncos. They probably are right with the Broncos. And then to finish off, it's our real estate people, Van Allen Real Estate. Michelle over there is the agent, and she works with everybody, whether you're selling, buying, and whether you commercial, residential. She is your person to go to, Van Allen Real Estate at 3-2. She's in the conversation, and she's the one who's picking the Cowboys. I was like, really? But after what the Cowboys did with the Packers and everything, hey, you never know. So, Tony, that's our sports football challenge. There's so many great things happening. And as you say, Tony, it's not too late to get in on the action, because if you think that you can pick Sunday night and Monday night games, come on aboard.
Plus, Don, I want to do, we're going to give some of our restaurants the link. And maybe they could get some of their patrons or something, let them ask us some questions on air. So I'm going to be working on that, because I think what we're trying to do, and fans, we want you to know, is we're trying to keep you guys engaged and involved in this as well. This is the way it used to be when we were back in the day, and we were playing hip-hop, and we were playing go-go music, and we were going to Super Bowl after Super Bowl. We want that feeling back. And when we get it back, it's going to have to be with a team that deserves to be there. Right now, this team is growing, and I think they will have a chance. When we come back, we'll be wrapping this bad boy up. But one thing about it is, we're not going to give up on this team, and we're going to not talk bad about them, but we sure enough going to say what's wrong. We'll be back in a minute, because we got a couple more things.
The one-of-a-kind joy of Kellogg's cereal and ice-cold milk.
This week in NFL news, starters have returned to the field. The question is, how much rust are they bringing with them? The 49ers' Brock Purdy is back with an impressive 303 yards passing in the loss to Jacksonville. But don't kid yourself, fans. Losing defensive end Nick Bosa made all the difference in that game. The Jets' Justin Fields saw the field on Monday night, and we thought there would be a Jaden Daniels sighting on Sunday versus the Falcons. Jaden was anxious to play. The doctor said no. Is it me, or is it the fact that there seems to be this lingering RG3 debacle from the past, giving the Commanders pause when it comes to sending Jaden out there too soon? Social media is a powerful force. Don't kid yourself. The Vikings' J.J. McCarthy is still out, and wide receiver Xavier Worthy is back in time to salvage the Chiefs' early season woes. I know tight end Travis Kelce is breathing a sigh of relief. Now that the Chiefs can stretch the field, I think all those Travis Kelce underneath routes will loosen up. And I was right. He was 5 for 5 for 48 yards on Sunday. Bears quarterback Caleb Williams might just have found his groove under head coach Ben Johnson. The Bears have won 2 in a row. But come on, Ben, you got to run for more than 69 yards, especially when your opponent carries the rock for 240 yards. And you know, the Raiders have a lot of talent, but quarterback Geno Smith threw 3 interceptions Sunday. Could Tom Brady, the team's quarterback whisperer, be telling Pete Carroll to give Purdue Boilermaker Aiden O'Connell a go this week? What the hey? The chants were overwhelming in New York this past week. Throw the dart. Bring on Jackson Dart and Muzzle. Let Russ cook. The New York street vendors had a lot of leftover t-shirts this week, 2 for $5. Dart and the Giants beat the Chargers, who were 3-0. Thank you, Jackson. Now Washington has to deal with an irate Jim Harbaugh. Oh, boy. We got close, fans. Taylor Swift was almost Super Bowl 59's halftime show performer. Can you just imagine how many people would tune in, especially if the Chiefs made it back? Well, according to the reports I got, the NFL's long-standing tradition of not paying Super Bowl performers caused tension in the discussions with Taylor Swift and her agents. Swift requested full ownership of her performance and advertising slots for her projects, terms the league rejected. 32 billionaires here, and you want her to work for free. Oh, watch the Swifties boycott the Super Bowl. And now the league has picked Bad Bunny. If there's anyone in the audience that thinks Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are not going to own at least 10% of the Chiefs or Eagles someday, raise your hand.
Can you believe, Solomon, that Mike spent time in the NFL news talking about Taylor Swift? Were we at a concert?
Look, I'm not going to make no comments because there may be some Swifties right outside this door right now, and I don't want no beef because I've already seen what the Beehive does for Beyonce. So, no, I'm not even going to comment on that.
Hey, we like Taylor Swift, but come on, we talk about football. And speaking of football, look at our crew picks. This week, it was hot. Tony is at 10-5. Me and Solomon in the lead, 11-4. Mike 10-5 and 9-6. Gary. It's all close. But the Rams, to me, is the team that people need to talk a little bit about. This week, all of us are picking the Rams. Hey, Tony, talk to me a little bit about the Rams and this team that seems to be making some noise early.
Well, you have to look at them last year. They started off a little bit slow. They had lost some players, and they came back, and they played very well. Now, what you have to look at is they are playing now, and they have a lot of talent on that team. Have a good coach. So I'm looking at them to be a danger. I really look at them, and I tell you what, I'm going to follow them. And if you guys remember, I took them last year as well.
And the Bucs this week is playing at Seattle, and they took a hard one to the Philadelphia Eagles last week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers down there with Todd Bowles, they gave Philadelphia everything they could, just kind of like lost at the very end. Solomon, they got the Bucs, and then you got Seattle that's playing well also. Although, a few of us took the Bucs, and Gary's the only one took Seattle. Talk about those two teams and how you see it.
Well, I mean, if you look at the thing, you see how I see it. I'm taking the Bucks, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a great game. But it's just something about, I just take it on what I saw Baker Mayfield do against us last year. So Baker Mayfield's sharp. So I just feel like he'll get it together this game. And I'm actually seeing the Bucks over the Seahawks this game.
And Mike, this is going to be a good one coming up because you got the Lions who at the beginning out the gates, they did not look good because lost their defensive offensive coordinators, but then they turned around against the Ravens. This week they're playing the Bengals. Now I'm looking at this. We're not believers in the Bengals, but talk a little bit about the Lions. Do you feel like they have turned the corner and this is going to be a team that we're going to be talking about a lot in this season?
Donna, that's a great question. You remember last year when Washington faced off with them in the playoffs and how the Lions were talking trash and how they were going to run over Washington? They had no defense. Hutchinson was out. They had no defense. 7 of their starters were gone. And now everybody is back. And so it's not just the offense that's really burning on all cylinders. It's the defense that's contributing and giving them good ball position. I just, if they can stay healthy, Donna, in the NFC, that might be my favorite.
Wow.
But you can't, and you know what? You guys can't leave out the coach. He's a gunslinger. And he's going to go for it on 4th and 30. That puts fear in all teams. Trust me. No matter where you are, if a team thinks they can make 4th and 30, you are going to be nervous. That's a big part of their game. Detroit is a team to watch, ladies and gentlemen. The Detroit they call Michigan.
What up, though? What up, though, Detroit? What up, though?
Well, Tony, should we be afraid of the Cleveland Browns taking on the Vikings?
Very much so.
I see that you took the Browns and the rest of us, well, Mike took the Browns too, but Solomon, myself, and Gary took the Vikings. What makes you so confident in the Browns?
Their defense. They got a defense, and sooner or later, Deion's son going to be playing quarterback. We'll leave it like that.
Okay, we'll leave it like that. But as we spin on around, the Cowboys gave the Green Bay Packers everything they could take on. That was a terrific game, a knockout punch here and there, backwards and forward, but nobody's playing any defense. But Tony did say something. He said Dallas may not play defense, but they got some offense. How do you see this one, Solomon? You took the Jets. You believe that the Jets is going to go in there and beat, well, they playing at home, but you believe they're going to beat the Cowboys. What makes you so gung-ho about the Jets this season early?
Well, I was a big man that could actually bring the ball up court and pass it back to a shooter. So I'm going to actually pass it back to you, sharpshooter. What made you take the Cowboys this week? That's what I want to know over the Jets. Can you
only because of that offense, and I believe that they got enough offense to turn around, but I want to kind of like switch around a little bit and talk about the team up the road, the Baltimore Ravens, and everybody can jump in. Is this a panic button should be being pushed for the Ravens because they lost 5 people on Sunday and lost back-to-back games? And who would have been thinking at this part of the season that we will be talking about the Ravens being 1-3?
Well, it is a panic because not only have they lost 3 or 4 games in a row, they've also lost a lot of players. And then first and foremost, they haven't all played together enough to know how to play as a team. Got a lot of new players on there. So I'm going to tell you right now, you can stick a fork in them. Maybe later on they'll become tender, but you're going to have to put some tenderizer on them because they're tough right now and not in the right way.
What's your thoughts, Mike?
Oh, well, I'm ambivalent on that one. I'm just going to – it's sort of a toss your coin kind of game. I'm just ambivalent. I would say I picked who I picked because of what I read. And that's not always the best way to do it.
Yeah, with the Ravens.
Hey, wait a minute, Donna. That wasn't nothing. He don't want to come out. He want to act like in the crowd. He don't want to even tell him what he picked.
But he loves the Ravens, Tony, so he ain't going to say nothing about them. But Solomon, is it time to panic?
Oh, I'm done with all birds right now. I mean, except the Eagles, because we got to see them. But the Cardinals have been hurting me, and definitely the Ravens. Only hope I'm a hold for them is my homeboy, Kobe Holmes. Big ups to our health teacher, Kobe Holmes, at the school. He is from B-More, and he's an avid Ravens fan. So he's telling me it will be a turnaround. That's the only hope. But far as me losing any more money, negative.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
Tony,
know.
we're going to let you wrap this one up.
I'll tell you what, let's take a look at this. And we're looking at this Washington team. Yeah, we're a little bit disappointed, but even in a defeat, we saw some good things. That's what you have to come with a younger team. They're going to do some good and some bad. What's going to happen is the second half, whichever team is healthiest and making the fewest mistake will be in the playoffs. And we're hoping that will be the Washington Commanders. With that being said, one thing we always do, we never say goodbye here. We say, in the minute.
The one-of-a-kind joy of Kellogg's cereal and ice-cold milk.